In a normal average day, for the vast majority of us, not a lot happens. You get up, you go to work, you come home, you watch TV, you browse the net, maybe go out, and then it's back home and back to bed. However, there are 7.5 billion of us human beings. So during a normal average day for the human race, extraordinary things happen. When we look at our combined actions, you start to realise just how big our society is and just what the effects are on us and the rest of the planet. Look up at the sky, and if it's a clear, dark night, you might see the International Space Station as it orbits 220 miles above the Earth at 17,500 miles an hour. In one day, the astronauts on the ISS will travel just over 420,000 miles or 670,000 kilometres. That's the equivalent of going to the moon and coming 75% of the way back every day. And they will also see a sunrise and sunset 16 times. Meanwhile, back on Earth, in one day, 82,000 people get married, 20,000 get divorced, 550,000 babies are conceived, of which around 70% will survive pregnancy and lead to 385,000 people being born. And for 159,000 of us, it will be our last day on Earth. In one day, around 3,500 people will die in road traffic accidents, 3,200 in other accidents, 2,300 people will commit suicide, 1,650 as a result of violence, 1,100 from falls, 1,060 from drowning, 950 from poisoning, 850 from fire, and 500 as a result of armed conflict. In one day, infectious diseases will account for the loss of about 11,700 people from respiratory infections, 5,900 from diarrhea, 5,600 from HIV/AIDS, 4,000 from tuberculosis, 2,400 from malaria, 354 from STDs, 288 from hepatitis B, 17 from intestinal nematodes, and 15 from leprosy. In one day, 47,000 people will pass away from heart attacks, 21,000 from cancer, 11,000 from non-infectious respiratory diseases, 7,600 from obesity-related issues, 5,600 from digestive diseases, 3,400 from neuropsychiatric conditions, 3,100 from diabetes, 2,500 from genitourinary diseases, and 1,300 will die from malnutrition. And we will kill 115,000 of our own unborn children and euphemistically call it termination. In one day, we collectively shed 35 million litres of tears, enough to fill 14 Olympic-sized swimming pools. We breathe 196 billion cubic metres of air, 14 times the size of the biggest building in the world, the Boeing Everett factory in Washington, built to make Boeing's largest planes. In one day, we humans produce 10 billion litres of urine, enough to fill 4,000 Olympic swimming pools, 1 million tonnes of faeces, and a volume equal to 1 million cubic metres, enough to fill the Empire State Building, and enough methane to provide energy for 35,000 US households. In one day, we take 3.2 billion photos, we perform 5.1 billion Google searches, we watch 5 billion videos on YouTube, 700 million comments and 300 million photos are posted on Facebook, we send 500 million tweets, 213 million Skype calls are made, 3.6 million terabytes of internet traffic is generated. It's estimated that the amount of electricity used for just the internet alone, from all the servers on it and all the devices used to browse it, is about 3,300 gigawatts, which is about 14% of total electricity production. And we also send 221 billion emails, of which it's reckoned about 67% is unwanted spam. Every day, there are just over 100,000 flights carrying 8.5 million people around the world, with an average of 700,000 people being in the air at any one time. In one day, there are 107,000 criminal convictions, of which 56,000 are for theft, 18,600 for burglary, 11,500 for assault, 9,500 for robbery, 7,600 for motor vehicle theft, 1,270 for sexual violence, 1,200 for murder, 790 for rape, 400 for sexual offences against minors, and 215 for kidnapping. The revenue from the illegal worldwide drugs trade is estimated to be $1.2 billion, and ID fraud is estimated to cost $13.6 million. In one day, there are 3.9 million smartphones sold, 660,000 TVs, 571,000 computers, along with 368,000 motorcycles, 211,000 cars, 7,000 trucks, and $200 million is spent on video games. The slaughter of animals for our food is well beyond any kind of biblical scale. In one day, we process 128 million chickens, 6.3 million ducks, 3.2 million pigs, 1.8 million turkeys, 1.4 million geese, 970,000 goats, 810,000 head of cattle, 12,600 horses, and 288,000 tonnes of fish. Then there are the 2.8 billion eggs, 1.7 billion litres of milk, 6.2 million tonnes of cereal, 4.2 million tonnes of sugar, 2 million tonnes of vegetables, and 1.7 million tonnes of fruit. We consume 55 billion servings of all types of beverages excluding water. We produce 528 million litres of beer and 72 million litres of wine. In one day, 3.5 million tonnes of edible food are lost to waste, about 1/3 of all our food production, along with the 685 billion litres of fresh water used to grow it. And when it decomposes, it generates 9 million tonnes of CO2, which is about 10% of the total CO2 released by burning all types of fossil fuels. We throw away 4.8 million tonnes of rubbish, which will fill up 480,000 garbage trucks, which if you park them end to end would stretch 3,470 miles, or from New York to London. In one day, we use 93 million barrels of oil and liquid fuels, 57 terawatt hours of electricity, enough to power the entire United Kingdom for 67 days. We burn 9.8 billion cubic metres of gas and produce 87 million tonnes of CO2. $57 billion in global taxes are collected, and the expenditure on the worldwide military is around $5 billion. 88,000 acres of rainforest will be cut down, 81,000 acres of land will become desert, 47,000 acres are lost due to soil erosion, and 74 species will become extinct. All in all, it's a normal, average day for the human race. And as always, please subscribe, rate, and share.